What if I told you that in the 12th century England, two children with bright green skin appeared out of nowhere, speaking an unknown language and claiming they came from an underground world where the sun never shines? And what if I told you this isn't just some medieval fairy tale, but a documented historical event that has baffled scholars for over 800 years? You're watching Life in the Dark Ages, and today we're diving into one of medieval history's most disturbing and unexplained mysteries. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this story has haunted historians for centuries, and more importantly, what it reveals about the dark realities of medieval life that we're still dealing with today. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like a complete outsider? Like you don't belong in this world? Well, imagine being a child, lost, terrified, and literally green-skinned in a world that sees you as a monster. That's exactly what happened in the village of Woolpit, and their story will change how you think about acceptance, fear, and what it means to be human. Picture this. It's harvest time in 1173 in Woolpit, a small village in Suffolk, England. The name Woolpit literally means wolf pit. These people dug massive traps to catch wolves that were terrorizing their livestock. Think about that for a second. Wolves were such a real, daily threat that entire villages organized their lives around killing them. Now imagine you're a medieval peasant. Your life is brutal, short, and filled with superstition. You believe in witches, demons, and that the forest is full of evil spirits. You're walking near one of these wolf pits when suddenly you hear crying. You look down and see two children, but these aren't normal children. Their skin is bright green, like fresh grass. They're wearing clothes made from a material you've never seen before. And when they see you, they start speaking in a language that sounds like nothing you've ever heard. Not English, not French, not Latin, nothing. What would you do? In 2024, you'd probably call 911 and social services, but in 1173, many villagers would have assumed these were demons or fairy changelings sent to curse their village. The fact that the people of Woolpit didn't immediately kill these children tells us something important about medieval society that most people don't realize. Can you imagine the terror these children felt? Ripped from everything familiar, surrounded by strange people speaking a foreign language. In a world so bright, it must have hurt their eyes. And here's what's going to blow your mind. This is just the beginning of their story. The villagers, led by a local landowner named Sir Richard de Calne, made a decision that reveals the complex humanity of medieval people. Instead of treating these green children as demons, they brought them into the village and tried to help them. But here's where the story gets really disturbing. These children were literally starving to death in front of everyone, and no one could figure out why. The villagers offered them bread, meat, milk, all the foods that kept medieval people alive. But the children refused everything. They were wasting away, and the villagers were helpless to save them. Think about this from a parent's perspective. You're watching two children slowly die of hunger, and nothing you offer them works. The frustration, the helplessness, it's heartbreaking. This went on for days until something incredible happened. One day, the villagers brought in freshly harvested beans from the fields. The moment the green children saw these raw beans, they grabbed them desperately and started eating them like they hadn't seen food in weeks. Raw beans, something that would make most of us sick, were apparently the only thing keeping them alive. Now here's what I want you to think about. These children weren't just physically different. Their entire relationship with food, with survival itself, was alien to medieval people. In a world where starvation was a constant threat, imagine meeting children who literally couldn't eat the food that keeps you alive. What does that tell you about where they came from? And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The boy, the weaker of the two children, never fully adapted. Despite the villagers' care, despite learning to eat other foods, he got sick and died within a few months. We'll never know his story, his fears, or what he remembered about home. He died in a foreign world, and we don't even know his name. But the girl survived, and as months passed, something remarkable happened. Her green skin gradually faded to normal. She learned English, integrated into village life, and eventually told her story. What she revealed should make you question everything you think you know about the medieval world. According to the girl, whose name we also don't know, she and her brother came from a place called St. Martin's Land, But this wasn't just another village. She described a world where everything was green-tinted, where the sun never fully rose, where it was always twilight. She said the people, the plants, even the sky had a greenish hue. Now listen carefully to what she said happened next, because this is where the story gets truly mysterious. She and her brother were tending their father's cattle near their village when they heard the sound of bells, like church bells, but different. Following this sound, they discovered a cave they'd never seen before. Being children, they were curious. They entered this cave and walked through darkness for what felt like hours. Then suddenly they emerged into blinding sunlight, brighter than anything they'd ever experienced, and found themselves trapped near the wolf pit where the villagers discovered them. Here's what you need to understand. This girl wasn't just telling a story, she was describing a trauma. Imagine being ripped from your family, your world, everything you know, and ending up somewhere where the very light hurts your eyes, where people look different, speak differently, eat different food. But here's what's really going to mess with your head. She claimed that when she tried to find the cave again to go home, it was gone, completely vanished. She spent the rest of her life in Woolpit, never seeing her family again, never returning to her green-tinted world of eternal twilight. Now I want you to think about something. In our modern world, we have millions of refugees, immigrants, and displaced people who've been torn from their homelands. How many of them feel exactly like this girl? Lost in a world that doesn't understand them, speaking languages that sound foreign, eating food that doesn't taste like home, surrounded by people who see them as different, as other? For over 800 years, historians have tried to explain what really happened in Woolpit, and every theory reveals something disturbing about both medieval and modern society. Theory 1. These were Flemish immigrant children whose parents died, leaving them lost and malnourished. The green skin could have been caused by hypochromic anemia, a condition where poor nutrition turns your skin a greenish color. The strange language? Old Flemish or Dutch? The bean eating? Beans were a survival food for the poor in that region. But here's what this theory really tells us. Medieval Europe was full of displaced, traumatized children whose parents died from war, famine, or disease. These kids survived by eating whatever they could find, often suffering from malnutrition that literally changed their appearance. The mystery of the green children might just be the harsh reality of what happened to countless forgotten children throughout the Middle Ages. Theory 2. This was a case of chlorosis, a medieval medical condition that could turn skin green, combined with psychological trauma that made the children create an elaborate fantasy world to cope with whatever horror they'd experienced. Think about what this means. These might have been children fleeing from something so terrible, war, abuse, starvation, that their minds created an entire alternate reality to survive. The green land of eternal twilight might have been their way of processing trauma that was too overwhelming for children to understand. Theory 3, and this one's going to make you uncomfortable. Some historians believe this story was entirely fabricated by medieval chroniclers to make a point about accepting outsiders and showing Christian charity to strangers. If that's true, it means that medieval people understood something we're still struggling with today. That fear of the other, fear of people who look different, speak differently, eat differently, is one of humanity's most dangerous instincts. They created this story to teach their communities that even the strangest, most frightening outsiders might just be lost children who need help. Here's what I really want you to understand. Whether these children were real or not, their story reveals truths about human nature that we're still dealing with today. Every day, millions of people cross borders, fleeing war, poverty, or persecution. They arrive in foreign countries where they don't speak the language, don't understand the customs, can't even find food that tastes familiar. To the people already living there, these refugees often seem alien, threatening, different. But here's what the people of Woolpit understood that many of us have forgotten. Beneath the differences, beneath the fear, these are just people. Usually traumatized people who've lost everything and are desperately trying to survive in a world that sees them as outsiders. The Green Children's story forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. When you see someone who looks different, speaks differently, practices different customs, what's your first instinct? Is it fear? Suspicion? Or is it the same compassion the people of Woolpit showed to two terrified, starving children? And here's something else to consider. In our age of social media and instant global communication, we're creating new kinds of outsiders every day. People whose political beliefs, lifestyle choices, or even entertainment preferences make them seem alien to us. How often do we treat these people like the green children, as mysterious others to be feared rather than understood? The medieval people of Woolpit, living in a world far more brutal and superstitious than ours, chose compassion over fear. They fed strange children, learned their story, and accepted them into their community. What does it say about us if we can't do the same? So what really happened in Woolpit 850 years ago? We'll probably never know for certain, but maybe that's not the point. Maybe the real mystery isn't where these green children came from, but what their story reveals about us. In a world where difference is often seen as dangerous, where fear of the other drives politics and policy, the people of Woolpit chose differently. They chose to see two lost, frightened children instead of monsters. The next time you encounter someone who seems foreign, strange, or different, remember the green children. Remember that behind every alien appearance, every unfamiliar language, every strange custom, there might just be someone who's lost, scared, and looking for a place to belong. What do you think really happened in Woolpit? Were these children refugees, victims of a medical condition, or something more mysterious? And more importantly, what would you have done if you'd found them first? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into medieval mystery and what it teaches us about human nature, subscribe to Life in the Dark Ages for more stories that connect the medieval past to our modern world, and hit that notification bell. Because next week, we're exploring another medieval mystery that will make you question everything you think you know about the Middle Ages.